Welcome to a Tatter Effect. We are here at the Girlz Ink studio in Las Vegas. And before we start our show today, I first want to take a minute to say thank you to everybody who is streaming the podcast or, viewing them on YouTube. We are at like 3,000 downloads. And so that is really super cool for me and Olivia and everybody here at Girlz Ink. We had no idea where this podcast would go. I just knew it would be really fun and a creative outlet for me, because I'm super interested in people and I like conversation. So to have it be that successful and for you guys to like it that much, we're getting a lot of messages, has been really heartwarming and thrilling and super cool. So just a shout out to all you guys for supporting us and the new podcast. We thank you. So, and I hope you keep listening. We've got lots of fun stuff coming up. So, okay. So today I am a little nervous and you'll probably all be like, why? But I'm kind of the face of Girlz Ink, right? I'm the one on social media and the pictures and all that stuff. And some of my artists too. But the other half of Girlz Ink and a really important half who kind of holds everything together and makes this all possible is my wife, Kat. Those that follow me on Instagram, you see her every now and then because I post pictures of us. She's always like kissing my cheek in the pictures. And that's for a reason, which we might get into in this podcast. And I'm constantly professing my undying love for her because it's all true. But that's how you kind of know her or have seen her, unless you've come to some of our hands-on classes here at the studio or conferences, which she's at them all with me. But today, after weeks, if not months, of asking and begging, I finally got her to sit here and chat with me on Tatter Effect. So
hi everyone.
You're here.
So tell them how you convinced me.
I said I will buy you a new pair of shoes. So
took some bribing.
I think I just laugh snorted. Did I just laugh snort, Olivia?
Yes.
I can feel my cheeks expanding, getting beet red. I don't know why I'm a little nervous with you here. I mean, you're my wifey. We've been together 17 years. We spend every minute together. But I don't know. I'm a little like that you're here.
Aw, sweet. That's sweet. You didn't introduce our little girl.
Well, we've got little Delilah with us. She is our little 4-pound Yorkie. And did you have her up? Can they see her? Oh,
she wants
there
to sleep.
She is.
She's tired.
Yeah.
She's so precious. Yeah.
Well, it not only did it take a new pair of, are those like red bottom shoes? Is that what I call them?
Louboutins, yeah.
Louboutin. How do you say that?
Louboutin.
Louboutin. Yeah, because I don't know these things.
You're lucky I'm a bargain shopper.
Yes. But it also took a glass of champagne,
yes,
right? And a little Lila on your lap.
That's true.
Right, I know. And Lila just recovered from a really severe illness. I did post on the Facebook, so some people do know this, but she was super sick and in the hospital for a few weeks.
We almost lost her twice.
She had pneumonia from aspirating. And at the same time, what we discovered a few weeks into her hospital stay is she also had a disease called valley fever, which is a fungus that attacks and grows inside the lung. Mm-hmm. And it's found in the desert climates. It's exceptionally rare, but even more so for little dogs. But when she wasn't recovering and declining from the pneumonia, we decided we had a great doctor, great vet, great hospital, decided to run that test. It was a long shot, and don't you know, it came back positive for valley fever. Yes, I'm talking about you, little girl.
Right, so this little 5-pound dog had pneumonia and valley fever and survived. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle, yeah. Well, we did our I think we kind of manifested that.
For sure.
You know, we do our affirmations and our self-talk kind of alone and by ourselves. We're kind of we don't really do that together.
No.
But in this one time, you and I kind of came together and said, "Do you want to do our affirmations together out loud?"
Right.
And we did.
We laid in bed and held hands.
And we did our positive talk, positive thinking, affirmations, manifestation of Delilah healing and getting better and biting Samson and coming home and all that stuff that, you know, we love about her. And it worked.
Definitely worked.
The power of manifestation and positive thinking. Yeah, it's so true. I live my life by it. So, but we'll get into that in other episodes. So I thought it would be, so, you know, I'm relaxing a little bit.
Me too.
Yeah. So as you reach for a drink. So don't get too buzzed now, because you know, well, you know, you get a little feisty when you drink a little bit.
That could be fun.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, for you.
Ask Michonne.
Yeah, ask Michonne, you and Michonne. So I thought it would be cool to start having you come on the podcast, because I think you and I have an interesting story. I think it's inspiring, and I think it's interesting. I think you and I are a little bit different. You know, we're two gay women, and I think the odds were stacked against maybe both of us personally, maybe a little bit more towards me because of my mental stuff. But, you know, we came from small towns, you very rural.
Yeah, for sure.
And no money in our background.
Nope.
You grew up, would you say, poor?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely poor. I didn't grow up poor, but, you know, my dad had to work, you know, crazy hours to support us 3 kids and my mom. And so, you know, we didn't grow up with extra money to go on vacations and whatnot, but you actually grew up poor.
Yeah, and population where I grew up was 2,000 people. So that gives perspective how small of a town it was.
Yeah, upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
Yeah.
My mom's going to watch this, I'm sure. So, hey,
She
Joni.
is.
Hey, Joni.
We love Joni.
For sure.
Yeah. Will she get upset that you said you grew up poor?
No.
Does she feel that you guys grew up poor?
Yes, but with lots of love.
Well, yeah, with lots of love. I mean, you're the oldest of 6.
That's true.
Right. And your mom is this, you know, amazing human being, although she was raising 6 kids and probably struggling.
For sure.
For sure, right? She brought in foster children. Like your mom is a rescuer, a saver, wants to save and help.
Yeah, she's got a huge heart.
Yes, we know that about Joni. So we come from that backgrounds and no college. And
I had a little.
You had a little bit.
A couple of years.
Did you flunk out?
Hell no.
Did you drop out?
Hell no.
Well, I had 0 college because I couldn't get into a college. I struggled to graduate high school.
You just didn't have interest.
I had 0 interest in drama.
Because you're extremely smart, so I don't even understand it.
I went through a lot of years, though, and you know this about me, thinking that I wasn't smart and being down on myself and having this complex that I wasn't a smart person because I didn't do well in school. And I was always grounded because my grades were D's and, you know, and I just, but now being, you know, the age that I am and looking back, you're right. I've come to learn about myself. I don't have to carry that complex anymore that I'm not smart. I know I'm smart now. And I think you're the one who kind of pointed that out to me. It wasn't that I wasn't smart. I just didn't have interest in academic stuff and math and science and that kind of stuff. My interest was, you know,
definitely you're self-educated.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Well, and so we're going to talk about that. How you and I winged it in the beginning, you know. But you know, so and being women, you know, I think women, it's harder in business for women.
So we've experienced.
And many times, even though we are in a female-dominated, and I think that is my phone. Is that my phone? Hang on. I thought we moved that outside. Hang on. Can you pass me my phone? Okay. See, totally organic, natural show. I mean, okay.
If that was, I'm so glad that wasn't me.
Yeah, because
Cat.
you would have been in trouble.
Yeah. Cat.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, okay, being women in business, even though we are in a female dominated industry, we have experienced that being women, women business owners,
For sure.
for sure. Being gay. We've
Right.
had some experience with that.
Oh, some not so good ones.
Some absolutely not so good ones, by women,
Yeah,
actually.
right.
So, and we'll talk about that. Maybe not this episode, but we'll get into that. So, I think I always say the struggle was real for us, and it certainly was real. But we're not looking for pity or anything
Oh,
like
no.
that.
Hell no.
We're just talking real. I mean, we're super blessed, and even though we've had some rough roads, we've had some failures, we've made some big mistakes. We've had some really, we've won some innings, we've lost some innings.
Right.
Overall, it's been a blast,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
And for me personally, it got a whole lot funner. Is that a word, or is it more fun?
More fun.
You usually correct me at home. I was waiting for you to correct
No,
me.
I'm not going to do it on here.
You're not gonna do it on here. You could do it on here.
All right.
More fun.
More fun.
When you joined the company
Aw,
with me.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to, so that's what I thought, you coming on here, we would talk about. I thought this, today, let's just kind of talk about our beginning.
Beginning,
and
okay.
Let people know how we started. And then in the future, we'll start, really talking, about, business and being, a gay married, a lesbian couple in business and being women in business and how we structure our business and whatnot. And I really hope that we can be an inspiration to other women, any woman, or anybody, even gentlemen watching this that think that they can't do it.
Right. Well, yeah, compared to where I came from, what I was doing, to where we are now, where I am now.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah,
I feel
for
if
sure.
you and I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yes.
We didn't have a lot of money when we started this.
No, that's true.
And so tell the story, how, driving in the car and what we used to do.
Okay, so usually it was when you were taking me to work, and we would talk about at the Venetian. I was a cocktail waitress at the Venetian.
Which, let me just point out, is a great career here in Vegas.
And a fun one.
And
it was fun.
It was fun.
A little wild,
yeah,
but fun.
Yeah, and you're hot.
Oh, thank you.
So you're welcome.
Especially 10 years ago.
No, you're still hot.
Thank you, sweetheart.
So being a cocktail waitress in Vegas is a career. I mean, you get good hourly wage, you get your medical, you had 4 weeks of vacation, you get
Mega tips.
Mega tips. So it's a really, really great career, and you actually enjoyed it. I mean, you had great friends there, and
and I still do.
And you,
I
yes,
still have some of them still my friends.
you've maintained a lot of those friendships. Okay, so driving in the car, bringing you to work.
Okay. So we would talk about how could we figure out something so we could drive to work together every single day, because we did not want to be apart.
Right.
So in love.
Yeah, right. And it was true. We never wanted to be apart. We're kind of still like that now. Do you think?
Yes.
Is there, I mean...
Yes, I think, well, we're together so much now, maybe we get on each other's nerves a little bit, but we
A little bit?
Well, maybe you do more than I do.
I get on your nerves.
A little more.
Yeah. No, I know that. And I readily admit that. I tell people that all the time. Don't I, Olivia?
Yes, you do.
I always tell people that, look, I'm a creative type. So I was just telling Olivia that this morning. I'm like a creative type. I got these ideas, and creative types were a little neurotic, a little obsessive, we don't sleep well. We got all these ideas, and we're dreamers and visionaries, and I'm always like vomiting out my ideas to you, right? Because I'm your
sounding board. Yes.
You're my sounding board.
And then I input. So
Yeah.
we have a good
Well,
back
and
and
you're my
forth.
best friend, and now, and you're the one I feel closest to in the entire world, and love most in the entire world, and so yeah. It was way worse though when I used to smoke pot.
Yes.
Right? I haven't smoked pot in over 10 years.
Yes, thank
but
God.
when I used to smoke weed, I used to drive you crazy.
Oh, same stories over and over. Yes.
I know.
How many times did you take me out to the backyard to show me what you wanted to do in the backyard?
Well, I know.
Because you had visioned and you had to share it. Yes.
Yeah, well, yes, and you did not smoke pot. I used to try to get you to smoke pot with me,
Ooh, no, not me.
but you're just
Yeah.
not a pot smoker.
It just doesn't agree with me. I have no problem with it. It just doesn't agree with me.
I know, and I used to love it. The only way it didn't agree with me was it made me lazy.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get shit done. So, and it was a little bit of a contention in our relationship.
Yeah.
I think you didn't appreciate that about
Well,
me.
we didn't go into our relationship that way, right? You
No.
had been not smoking for quite some time.
Quite some time.
so-
And and I got a migraine one day, and you brought me home a joint.
You told me it would be okay.
Well, I thought after 3-4 years of smoking pot, I would
didn't
be
know.
fine.
Yeah.
Smoking this one time to get through that really bad migraine. But me being obsessive and having that addictive personality the way I have, it was just, it just triggered me right back to wanting to smoke pot all the time
All the
again,
time,
and
yeah.
being, but I think people like me, we look to self-medicate, right? Somehow, some way. Thank God it was never harsh drugs or gambling or anything like really destructive for me.
Right.
It was pot, but it would help calm the mind chatter, slow the racing thoughts, and get me out of that, which can be painful sometimes, right? So, but I just
You quit because
I quit because, and I remember saying this to you, when you go to work at the Venetian and all you girls are talking about your honeys, I wanted you to be able to talk about me in a way you were so damn happy you picked me, and you had no regrets, and I was everything, that you wanted and you deserved. And do you remember me saying that
yes,
too?
you're gonna make me cry. That's so sweet. I love that. Yeah. Awesome.
And I always wasn't great in my past relationships,
Well, what's the other thing you always told me? Compared to your past relationships to this relationship, what were you gonna do?
I was going to do everything the opposite that I did in my past relationships. And
it worked.
And I figured if I could stick to that, I just do everything the complete opposite that I did in my past relationships, I will be the best relationship partner in the world. I'll be good at this.
And you are, and you were.
Well, 17 years on the books. That's,
Yes, for sure.
it was 17 years in May. So,
Well, you know what you are?
What?
You're my hero.
Oh, when you say that to me, that touches me. I know you say that about me. So, and you're my hero. We're each other's hero, I think, in a lot of different ways.
Okay, we should probably stop being so gushy.
I know. So, but people do love, right?
Yeah.
People do love, and it feels good. Love feels good. Yeah, so let's talk about our beginning. So I remember pacing the bedroom, and we were trying to think of ways to incorporate you into the company.
Also, so we could travel together. That was also a goal. We wanted to be able to travel together. Yeah.
Because tax purposes.
Yes.
We couldn't write off your airfare and your expenses or whatnot unless I made you an employee,
Right.
or something like that. We figured something out. with the LLCs. And I think what ended up, I think we were talking about it. One thing was maybe you'd be an esthetician and we open up a little studio and it's just you and me. One thing was like, do you want me to teach you how to do PMU and you tattoo with me? And you were like, hell no.
I can't do blood.
Yeah, you can't do blood. But I thought that would be like kind of super cool.
Well, because I was a makeup artist, so I can do makeup, but I couldn't, the blood thing, no.
Yeah. So that wasn't going to work. And so we were contemplating some ideas, and then LI Pigments one day reaches out to me,
Right.
a long time ago, and maybe 9 years ago, something like that. I don't know, 9 years ago,
Like 9.
and asked me to be a distributor, and I think I may have said no at first, or was leaning towards no. But then you and your shoulder started hurting.
My wrists and my hands.
Your wrists and your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Arthritis.
Yeah.
And they say necessity, what's that saying? Necessity is the...
Oh, yeah.
Object.
No.
Necessity fuels invention.
Right.
Something like that, right? So it became not just a desire for us to work together and for me to figure a path for you out of the Venetian and to join the company. It became necessary because I was watching you suffer physically. You were hurting. And then, we revisited being a distributor for LI. I called them. We had a conversation. You and I had lots of conversations. I told you I can't do this alone.
Right.
And
I'd have to be willing to quit my job.
You'd have to be willing to quit your job. And you would have to handle that part. We were going to have to build an online store, and get into selling, and so you agreed, but what?
Well, what?
You agreed, but you couldn't quit right away. We were so nervous.
No, I had to work at the Venetian and do the store packing orders.
For how many years? Like 3?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. So you kept a full-time job at the Venetian.
Right.
Cauttailing.
Yes.
And then you'd come home. We started our store.
Right.
At our home, our modest home.
Right.
And one room we turned into where we stocked all and we started our store with LI Pigments only. Only.
Uh-huh.
And I can remember like them being on the shelf, looking at the pigments on the shelf in the bedroom.
It was in one cabinet.
One cabinet. Our stock was in one cabinet.
We were so
But we
proud.
didn't have a lot of money.
No, we didn't.
And that's what I want to talk about is I want people to understand that you don't necessarily need a lot of money to start a company.
Right.
To build your dream, go after your dream. We did not have a lot of money and we were conservative. We were risk takers, but calculated risk takers.
Definitely, yep.
And that's why we started with one product. That's why the first store we built was like a low end, kind of store, and you stayed at the Venetian. We you couldn't afford to quit. We couldn't afford to go down to just my salary. And at that time, I was tattooing clients. That was my salary, seeing clients and training.
Right.
And it just made us too nervous. So we did pull money out of our savings and what we were comfortable with, which wasn't a lot.
Right.
And
I think we started with like $8,000 or something.
$8,000?
I think it was around there.
Yeah, that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
And I think we bought $4,000 or $5,000 worth of LI pigments.
Yeah. The top colors, I think.
The top colors only. And then we had to buy some packing materials, and I think we spent the rest, maybe $2,000, building a storefront. And so...
Big Commerce, yeah, I remember.
Yes. So, and our whole thing is like, we just agreed that we will never go into debt. You and I were okay growing this slowly.
Definitely.
Definitely, right? Because we didn't want to
Right.
go into debt.
No, that scared both of us.
Yes. No taking equity out on the home.
Right.
There was no way in hell we were going to do that.
Nope.
And I think my one of my favorite sayings is those that rise quickly fall quickly. And a lot of times, a lot of moments in my life, I go back to these quotes that just stick with me, right? And they're words to live by, words to thrive by. And it's just these little slogans. Those that rise quickly fall quickly, right?
Right.
Comparison is the thief of joy. These little slogans, but they have such deep meaning, and they have something very profound to tell you and to remind you of. So I fall back on these quotes a lot.
I want to just mention one thing. One thing we skipped over was I lost my shift. We all did. All the cocktail waitresses lost their shift, and they put us on rotation. So I went from a really good shift to not as good at all.
Yeah.
So my money went like less than half.
Yeah.
So that was a huge motivator.
And that was during 2008.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
Back then. And I remember that. It was scary. You lost your shift.
But it was the best thing that could have ever happened, right? Because that was so motivating.
Well, there was two things going on in our lives. You had that. You had lost your shift. Your income had decreased by half. And imagine that.
Right.
Our house was on the line.
Right.
During that time, remember?
Right.
We had done what everybody else had done and done an interest-only
only.
loan. You were a cocktail waitress. I was a tattooer seeing clients, so we were what do the banks call us?
Stated income.
Stated income. So we didn't have like W-2s to produce. So and it was fine. It was all fine because we were paying extra on the mortgage every single month, faithfully and religiously. So it wasn't just the interest being paid.
Yeah, we were disciplined.
Right, because if you do an interest-only loan, which is okay, it's important that you don't just pay that interest payment every month. You have to be disciplined and commit to paying
for a home loan, yes,
additional money every month
towards the principal
to pay down the principal. And you and I did that. So some months it was $100, some months it was $500. Just depending on how much extra we had in the budget that month. And was our saving grace. By the time 2008 hit, everything crashed. Our interest-only loan was up, and all of a sudden, you and I didn't qualify.
Oh, it was so scary.
Because they weren't doing stated income loans anymore.
Right.
And we were scared to death we were going to lose our home. And what saved us, Kat?
You mean by paying extra?
Yes.
Yes.
That
definitely. So we were kind of flush. So we qualified because everything had dropped.
Everything had dropped. The value of our home had dropped. Everything had dropped. And it was the fact that we had been paying extra every month.
And we bought on the higher end too.
We
Not
did
the highest end, but the higher end.
But the higher end, yep. So, we had that going on. That was really stressful in our lives. You lost your shift. Your income decreased by 50%. The salon that I was in for 12 and a half years, all of a sudden, new owners came in.
Yes.
Didn't treat me very well.
Right.
And I felt very
vulnerable.
And all that stressful stuff, you're right. And I think that was the trifecta, those three things. It was those three things that lit a fire under our ass to make things happen for ourselves, right?
Yes.
Go after our dreams and make things happen.
Take a risk.
Take a risk, and to never end up in that situation again.
Right. To be in control of our own destiny.
Yes, and we have been ever since. So let's go back to, okay, so you worked 3 years. One of our bedrooms was where L.I. Pigments was, just the top colors. And do you remember how excited we would get when we would get an order?
Oh, for sure.
Right? We would be so excited, or we got 5 orders this week.
I think one week we got 20 and we called Darlene how we were so excited.
Yeah, Darlene is the owner of L.I. Pigments.
Whom we love.
Love Darlene, love Mattia, love Carice.
Like family.
Love Blanca. We love them like family. And Yeah, it's kind of funny how our brands and our companies kind of commingle, and we're just kind of very parallel. We've been very parallel with them ever since we became a distributor.
Yes.
So it's cool. We're really lucky to have LI, and vice versa. I know they feel the same about us.
Oh yes, Carice and I are super close.
Yes, you are. And we talk to Darlene. Oh my gosh,
all the time.
All the time. But they're a beautiful company and beautiful human beings, and they deserve all the success. Really super. I'm proud to work as hard as we work for them. We would
definitely.
Yes. So then, what? We're packing. We're doing our own packing and shipping. Right? And we would even write little notes and put candy in the thing. And I remember thinking like there was no super cool, because I was a body tattooer too.
Right.
And and I never used PMU machines. Right. I never really liked the typical PMU digital machine. That just wasn't me.
Right.
I always used a coil and, tattoo rotary machines. So I would shop on tattoo supply stores often. And what a difference shopping on a body tattoo supply store and then going on to one of the stores back in permanent makeup back then during the day. It was like night and day.
Right.
And I just felt the tattoo supply stores were super cool. They really like the aesthetic of them, the way they were, all these cool products. And it just wasn't like that in the permanent makeup stores back then. And I felt that was missing. A really cool aesthetic to a PMU supply store with cool products from the tattoo industry. Like
more rock and roll.
Right? Because that did not exist. Even 8 years ago, it didn't exist, really. PMU supply stores sold PMU machines, PMU needles, and it was kind of more exclusive shopping, or what's that other kind of shopping, proprietary shopping, rather than universal shopping. So we did our store really different, kind of cool, kind of a little bit more rock and roll and tattooy, but high professionalism and support for the customer, the artist,
yes, for sure,
that shops with us and believes in us. Because if I feel if they shop our store, there's something about then they believe in us. They want to support our company, and for every person that believes in us and supports us, we owe them.
Right, we're grateful.
We're grateful, and so setting up a support team was really, really important. Yeah.
And take care of our customers the way we were taking care of our customers.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I know. I remember that. So I think I remember we were probably packing and shipping out of our house for like 3 years. And then all that stressful stuff kind of happened. Your job,
right.
My days ending at the salon for, certain reasons, and necessity.
Right.
Get out and finally be together.
Yes.
So we opened up our first little Girlz Ink studio. And by the way, just so people know, it was 13 years in the making for me before I had my own studio.
Yes, I used to tell you we need to have a studio.
I know.
You remember?
Yeah.
I mean, you were scared. Like I was afraid to leave my job because of the security. You were also afraid, because it's scary to go out on your own.
Yeah, it's really, really scary. But best move we ever did.
Yes.
And our studio was what, 1,500 square feet?
Barely,
maybe 1,300 square feet, and it was in the same park, couple buildings over.
Yes.
And oh my God, Kat, we winged it.
Did we ever?
So bad, right? I mean,
yes.
Right. Well, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Like, how do you set up a front desk? How do you run a front desk? How do you really run a store,
right,
and control your inventory? We didn't know any of that.
What did we need for our studio? Like, we didn't even realize we needed like a security system or a door. We had to go through all that. all that.
You did write Melissa,
who used to own it,
who used to own the salon,
and she was super helpful.
Because we really didn't know how to do it,
and she made lots of suggestions. And
we didn't open with a front desk girl.
No, it was me.
Yes, it was you.
Jack of all trades. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's how you.
It was fun.
It was really fun, and those
But it also gives you an understanding of how customers and clients are with your front desk, right?
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
So you have the understanding, because it's different when you're the owner and a customer or client calls in and say they're not happy about something, their package got lost or something, and how they speak to the owner versus how they speak to the front desk. Yeah. So that gave us a good understanding of,
right. Right. And that's true. Mm-hmm. And I think we have definitely experienced that. Like a customer will call, and if I get on the phone, they have a sweet tone.
Right.
And
even if they're upset,
mm-hmm. they'll complain to me in a kind way, a more graceful way. But if they get one of the front desk girls, one of my team members on the phone, not so much.
Yeah.
Tone changes. They can be rude and mean. And how people know that you run Girlz Ink with me. So
right.
Do they speak to you as nicely as they speak to me?
Well, now it's different, but in the beginning it wasn't.
Well, that's because I post Instagram pictures of us like kissing all the time.
They know I'm also the owner.
Yeah, now they know that you're also the owner.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and it's a shame that happens, but I think we handle disgruntled, and we're lucky we don't have that many complaints.
No, we really
or
don't.
That many disgruntled clients. We really don't.
And we want our customers to be very happy.
Well,
so
of course we do.
We bend over backwards as best we can.
As best we can. And even our team members do.
Oh, for sure.
But the one thing that you and I won't tolerate is mistreatment from a customer.
Right.
You can't allow that to happen to your team member when a customer. That's when you and I have to get on the phone, because I think there's that philosophy: the customer's always right, and I think that rings true to a point, right? Like we bend over backwards. We don't even have to tell Ari or Ashley or Olivia to bend over backwards. They just do. I mean, they're just that kind of people that they're going to try to make that person happy. But it is unrealistic and impossible to think that you're going to please everybody all the time, and as well as you run your company, as nice as you are, as supportive as you are to your customers, you're not going to run into people every now and then that there is no pleasing them.
Yeah.
There's those types of personalities out there, right?
Right.
I can't stand them, just to let you know.
And then if they've experienced it enough, if they yell enough, they get their way.
Yeah.
So, our girls do our absolute best, but if it can't happen, it just can't happen, right?
Yeah. Well, I think in almost every single case, when you and I really investigate and see what happens, that person where they've become a little abusive, they're just super angry, there's no pleasing them. Usually with a little digging, we find that that's happened to other store owners with this particular person.
Right. Because we all kind of know each other.
You're right. We've discovered that they didn't tell the whole truth about the situation.
Or as they see it,
right. We've discovered some things. Right. Yeah. But we still, look, if there's, even with that type of person, we do try to salvage
a relationship.
The relationship.
For sure.
And I think we're pretty good at that.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd say so. And people probably think I'm more the hard ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I know.
And
why you have that look.
Right.
You look like the tough one.
Yeah. And so who's the tough one really? Who really runs, who's really captain of the ship in here?
Oh, it's me.
Yeah. And all the girls know it. All the artists know it. Olivia, are you laughing back there?
She's laughing. Because she knows too.
Right. Yeah. And I'm the one, and I'm more vocal. I'm more like, oh, right? I come in all crazy.
Right. And I'm like, Teryn, no.
Yeah, and but Olivia knows. I mean, everybody knows. Even though I can be louder, and my voice can go up, and I can be more dramatic.
Yes, I want your way. Yeah,
and want my way, and this and that and the other. I think every single person knows I'm the softie.
Oh well, no, if they don't, they know now.
Yeah.
That's why they try to email you first.
Yeah, I just am, but
that's okay. But you need balance. If we were both softies, it wouldn't balance.
It wouldn't balance. You're right. So you are more firm. You stick to your guns. Better, and I can waffle a little bit, and I start feeling bad. And
I'm like, Teryn.
Yeah, I waffle a little bit. My boundaries aren't as strong and set as firmly as yours, but I have gotten better. Wouldn't you say I've gotten better over the years? Right,
definitely. Right. And I've softened a little bit, over the years too. So
so
balance.
It is balance, for sure. I think even in our personal relationships, some people think, looking at you're feminine and girly.
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm more tomboy, and I'm tattooed and whatnot. They think that I'm the dominant one in our relationship.
There is such a thing still.
If there is, well, I think that there is, don't you? I think in all relationships there's a personality. It's not just like a lesbian or a gay thing. I think in most relationships there's a more dominant personality and a less dominant personality. And then in some relations, maybe both are equally as dominant.
Right. And that might be a problem too. I think
that might be a problem. It could cause more arguments or, or stuff like that. And then probably in some relationships there's
two softies, and that could
two
be a
softies or equally like submissive, people. But you and I are, balanced. You're definitely the more dominant. Actually, when people say that I'm the more dominant one, they think I'm the more dominant. You laugh.
I laugh. You laugh too.
I know. It's like, no.
It's funny.
I know, but
it's okay. It's all good. It was what works for us.
Yeah,
though.
but you're not controlling at home. Some things you are. You don't like me unloading the dishwasher.
That's true. Yeah, you don't do it right.
Well, but I think I do it right. I mean, how complicated is to load a fucking dishwasher?
I'm like an expert at it. Yeah.
You just put dirty dishes in the dishwasher, close the door.
But I get way more in there.
Well, I know, and so, so some things you are a little controlling. You are.
That's okay. Yeah, I admit it. Yes.
Yeah, but when it comes to important things, financial decisions, money,
together.
Things like that. We there's not a more dominant. There's not a more this. We decide that together. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's really important in a relationship. It's for our relationship.
Yes.
Some people might like their partner taking the reins and making all the decisions financially. Well, but I don't.
And I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, and that's
a lot
okay.
Of women like that. They're in control in their business, but at home they don't want to be in control.
Right. No.
Actually, we have police officer friends that have mentioned that to us.
Yeah, Laura and Rochelle.
Right, they're control at work, but
I think that's more Laura.
Right.
I think I see Rochelle. Okay, Rochelle is.
They're both badasses.
They're both badass, but Rochelle is, she's a Metropolitan Police officer. But when we go quadding, because we're quadders, she's trail boss. Mm-hmm. And at home, when you watch her with Mike, she kind of more.
I don't know.
Yeah, she seems to be, or she tries to be.
Right. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's just in her nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Laura's the one more who, because she's a officer as well. Detective now, going for sergeant.
Yes.
She in her personal life, I don't think she wants to be that. She wants to be less. So yeah, I'm gonna have them on the podcast one day. They'll
be so interesting.
Yeah, no, they will be interesting. So let's get back to you and I. Okay. So some of the key things. Let's just mention. So one thing we kind of got out there is you can start your company, you can go after your dream, and you don't need a lot of money.
Right.
You just got to be strategic. You got to be okay with not having everything you want at once.
Right.
And maybe not having the best, you know what I mean? Like, yes, we wanted more than LI Pigments to launch the store with, but we really couldn't afford that. Right. So being okay with that, like, walking before you running, being okay opening up, maybe smaller than you're dreaming of, right?
Right, for sure.
Taking baby steps.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady, right? This, you know, the old cliche, this is not a race. It's a marathon, right? And you don't want to, and I really do believe it, and we have seen it in PMU. We have seen some artists hit the scene, get big fast,
Huge, yes.
and they are now no longer anywhere on the radar. So I do, for me, that saying, those that rise quickly fall quickly, for me, that's true. You know, so we've always been careful to walk before we run, plan everything out, start small, slowly build, and because you can definitely get overwhelmed.
Right.
Get overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed out, and whatnot. And that's not and when you're not enjoying running your company.
Yeah, because stress can be really difficult.
Very, very difficult. Especially when you work together.
Oh,
You know, you and I are here at the company all day long, and then we go home together. And so we had to set rules for our relationship,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because we do go through periods. I mean, just to be honest,
Yeah.
you know, we've been married together for 17 years. We are married, and we have gone through periods where we are all work.
Right.
We lost the romantic
Yeah.
part of our relationship. Not the best friend, not
Right.
the respect, not the love, not the in love.
Right.
But we've lost the romantic. We lost, you know, we're not lovers anymore, I guess is a great way to put it, right?
Right.
We're best friends and business partners. And that's something you and I have had to first acknowledge when it first happened. And we were both,
Because the business is all consuming.
the business is all consuming.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially me. I think I'm worse at it. I think I'm more consumed with it.
Than I am.
Than
not
you
that
are.
I'm not, but yes.
Right.
Because I worry just as much as you do. But yes, just different.
Yeah. You know, so we've had to, and I know there's a lot of married couples that either are in business together or want to start a business together. And these are things that that you have to think about and you have to take into consideration. Can you spend?
I think it happens a lot of time too that people do this and it ends up ruining their relationship.
Yeah. Can you turn your mic to be more towards your mouth? Yeah, there you
There
go.
we go.
Yeah, it can ruin their relationship. But you and I had those conversations, you know, because we were like, I don't know. I mean, when you and I met, we knew we were lifers, right? I
Yeah.
had dated a lot, and, you know, you had done your dating. We had gotten that all out of our system. And we were both, I think, looking for love. We were in a place where we were, you know, maybe me not so much. I think you just kind of smacked me in the head. And I just like,
Right.
you know.
Well, we were already friends.
We were.
So
But we had talked about working together. What's it
Right.
going to be like? I mean, you know, because up until we worked together, we were apart 8-9 hours a day, got that time to miss each other, you know, and come home. And you would, you know, hey, I'm just going to put out there, you used to come home in that Venetian cocktail waitress outfit. And that was a pretty sexy outfit.
yeah,
I
especially
mean,
back then.
Especially back then. I mean, that was my favorite part about you working at the Venetian. It was
Yes.
like watching you, like, you know, go out the door in that outfit every night, come home in that outfit every night, you know. And so, you know, there's there's that time during the day where you miss each other. And then you come home at night and it's really great to see each other and you kiss and you have dinner and your glass of wine, whatever your nighttime routine is. And then we lost that, right? That's gone now.
Right.
Now we went from that to, I don't get to see you in your Venetian outfit anymore.
I think I dressed pretty good.
No, you do. You still dress sexy. And your dress is very sexy today, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
But driving to work, getting up in the morning, driving to work, being at the studio all day together, driving home together, we're home at night together, right? And which is great. I love it.
Right.
Right? I love it. I
You're not complaining.
No, not at all. I've never complained once about it because there's nothing to complain about. I could be with you 24/7. I don't like to be without you. Anyway, you know that. But it's easy to stay in work mode.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So what did we do? We have date nights.
Yes. So that's what we had to incorporate, date nights. And on the calendar,
Yes.
we scheduled date nights.
That's literal.
Yeah. We
Go have a nice dinner.
Yeah.
Well, before all this happened, we'd go see concerts. We
Yeah.
really love that.
COVID.
Yeah.
But what did we do during COVID?
Oh, we had romantic dinners in the backyard.
Yes, we
Yeah,
did. I posted a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our anniversary happened to be during COVID. And we happened to have like a little casita where my dad comes and stays in the winter. And of course, he didn't come 2020 because of COVID. And so our anniversary,
Right.
What did you do?
I surprised you.
Yes.
And I had a beautiful dinner set up with rose petals and 3 courses, and it was just beautiful. And we had our dinner in the casita.
Yes, we did. We had a romantic evening and anniversary date in the casita, and it felt like we were in a hotel room. It felt,
I know. And then no dogs in there. So.
and no dogs. We locked the dogs.
We have 3 dogs
in the house. Yeah. Well, because if we don't lock the puppies up, they want to be up all our dizzle.
Right.
And it's hard to be,
Romantic,
romantic, sexy with the dogs, especially Samson.
I know.
Especially little
You should
Samson.
have him on the next podcast.
I know. He's a cutie patootie. So, I think some of the things that we talked about, you don't have to have a lot of money
Right.
to start your company. You got to have some money. It takes
Right.
some money,
Right.
but you don't have to.
Well, it probably depends on the company, too.
Depends on the type of company and whatnot. And the other thing that we agreed on was not to take debt.
Right.
Take on debt, not to grow the company in a manner that it caused us to have to take on debt.
Right.
Like we wanted a debt-free company.
Right.
And we accomplished that.
Right.
So once we made our first little initial, not little, $8,000 is a lot of money. It was a lot of money to us back then. It's still a lot of money to us today. But once we made that initial investment, what do they call that? Seed money?
Seed money, yeah.
And because we watch Marcus Lemonis, the prophet.
We love him.
And we love him. And we watch Shark Tank.
Yes.
We never had to invest anymore. Am I correct?
Right.
We never invested.
I actually took out a business line of credit and never used it once.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case of emergency.
Yep.
So.
And we never used it. So $8,000 was our initial investment, and we grew the company off that. And you stayed at the Venetian for 3 years, so we had that income. And the deal was, when we both felt safe, where you could actually leave the Venetian and come to Girlz Ink full time, was when
I was making the same as what I was making.
Yeah, when the store turned a profit, which it takes time for an online store to turn a profit.
Right.
But when it not only started profiting, but the paycheck you could take home from that was equal or close to the salary you were making at the Venetian.
So we didn't have to,
So we didn't have to scramble or
yeah.
worry or
Right.
anything like that. Yeah, and it took about 3 years. And then you quit the Venetian, and that was the second greatest day in your life.
Yes.
The first greatest day in your life was
Our wedding.
yeah, meeting me. But that was a great moment, like in our life, when you finally, it was such an accomplishment.
It felt wonderful, actually.
Yeah. Do you remember how proud we were?
So proud.
So proud.
Yeah.
It was great. So don't have to have a lot of money. You can do it. We can do it. Anybody can do it.
Have a plan.
Have a plan. Don't take on debt. And don't grow too quickly.
Right.
And the other, I think, key component to our success and why Girlz Ink is what it is today and what we've grown into is our mentality towards our team members, right?
Yeah.
Technically our employees.
Right.
They're technically our employees, but you and I aren't even comfortable really calling them our employees.
Right.
Um,
And I don't like it when they call us their boss.
no, and they really don't too often.
No.
Right? So, only when Olivia's in trouble.
And she's in trouble so often.
But how did you notice that about us, Olivia? Like, what do you think about one day we are going to get you on camera? Olivia's going to be my Robin and start talking more. She's very shy, but like, how does that make you feel technically as an employee, Olivia, that we don't really refer to you guys as employees, like you're a team member, and we don't really like you calling us our bosses. Technically as an employee of Girlz Ink, and technically us being your boss, like, I'm just curious, like, what that makes you feel like. I don't think I've ever really asked you that question.
It feels really good. I mean, it feels more like a family than work.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we feel.
Yeah, that's how we feel. Well, Kat and I, you both have been not treated well at jobs.
Definitely.
You know, and micromanaged by bosses.
Right.
And
can't look at your phone.
Can't look at your phone. Can't do any of that.
Can't make a phone call.
Yeah, and just not treated well.
Right.
And so I think the bigger the dream, the more important the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and our dreams were big. Mm-hmm. You know, my dreams are always big and growing, and
we never ask an employee anything to do anything that we aren't willing to do ourselves.
Yeah.
Or haven't done ourselves.
Exactly. That's one of our mottos, and I tell everybody that I will never ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. You know, I mean, when we notice the trash needs to go, we take out the trash. When we notice this, we just all pitch in, and the only thing is other people's dishes in the sink. I think maybe that's not like our one thing.
Right.
I don't like washing dishes. Like,
right.
I usually have a spoon or a glass in there.
I'll do it, but yeah.
No, I've been better lately
All
doing
right.
my one yogurt spoon, you know. But no, I think we don't micromanage our team, and we have 4 admin team members now. We've got Ashley. It's been with us 4 years. Our Olivia, what are you, 2 years now?
About to be 2 years.
Going on 2 years. Ari, and Ro. So we've got 4. I kind of call them admin staff, right? They do the email,
Artist support,
and they do a lot other stuff. You know, like Olivia does all the marketing. Ari runs the
she does this.
And she does this. Well, we don't have the budget for a big marketing division.
Right.
You know, we just don't. We're not that we're more of a smaller boutique kind of PMU company.
Boutique, I like that. Yes.
Boutique kind of company, which I think, I don't know if we're going to have time on this podcast, but the next time I think we should talk about maybe one of the biggest mistakes that we made.
Yes.
And we'll save that for an upcoming podcast. You're going to come on here regularly, you know.
Okay. I'm going to have a lot of shoes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, we better bring on some new products. Yeah. We'll save that for an upcoming podcast. But because when you come on here, you know, I wanted to talk about our story and how we started, because I think a lot of people have self-doubt and they don't think they can do it. They don't think they have enough money. They don't think they're, maybe not that they're smart enough, but they don't know enough, or this, that, and the other. You know, I had all those fears. You know, I did.
Yeah,
I just don't let fear stop me. I don't let fear cripple me, and I do not let it stop me. I have the fear. It comes at me. I process it.
And push through it.
And I push through it. I don't hang on to it. I don't let it, like, stop me, right? And
unless it's jumping out of an airplane.
well, I am not, yes, that I am not jumping on an airplane, you know. And, you know, yeah. But, you know, business-wise, entrepreneurial-wise, no, I don't let my fears stop me. So,
Right.
So going back to treating the way we treat our employees, I think why we keep our team members is because we don't micromanage them. They can take their lunch whenever they want. They can be on their phones. They can check in with their kids if they got kids. They can check their social media. We don't care.
Well, and then they don't take advantage.
No, they've never taken advantage. You know, we've had some employees that we have let go over the years because it's just not working out. And that's just reality. Not everybody you hire or bring on is going to fit and going to work out. Right. It's just, that's not reality. But I think you and I have kind of fine-tuned our interview process.
Oh, for sure.
To where we have
good cop, bad cop. No, right.
Better luck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Our interviewing process is not, maybe it's a little, what am I trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not your typical.
Yeah, there's another word though.
I know there is another word for it, and I can't recall it. I can't pull it up in my head right this minute. But it's definitely not your typical company employee interviewing process. It used to be, but we didn't have any luck that way. Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Like we couldn't find the right person. It wasn't working out. And then we kind of go into this process now where you interview them first. You narrow it down to like maybe 3 to 5. And you're very professional.
Oh yes,
you know,
definitely.
And then
you walk in,
and then you narrow it down to 3 or 5, and then we bring them back for their second interview, and then I come in. And then I just ask, I guess, the questions that everybody wants to know and wants to ask in an interviewing process, but either they don't feel comfortable asking, or maybe they think it's not professional to ask, or something like that. I kind of look at it as like a first date. Look, if you're going out on a first date, especially if like you don't got time to waste. Maybe you're a little bit older and you don't have time to waste. You're out on these first dates. You and I have talked about this. Like if we had to go out on a first date at this point in our lives, which that would never happen. I mean, right? But we would like cut through the chase. Like first date, I would like, do you gamble? Do you this? Do you that? I'm looking for deal breakers. Right. And then no second date. Because I don't want to waste my time. Okay. And we kind of took that philosophy into our interviewing process, right? Because we had so many failures.
For sure.
Being right. I don't think the way I come in and the questions I ask are unprofessional, maybe unorthodox.
That's a good word.
That's the word. Was that the word we were trying to pull up earlier? And Olivia went through that unorthodox interview process. So Olivia's pretty professional. Olivia managed a clothing company, boutique before she came here. Okay, Olivia, so be honest. What did you think about our interviewing process? Like your experience with Kat, and then your second interview with me. Like
she was like, "What the fuck?"
No.
Exactly how you said it. Kat was professional, and then you asked me if I cry. It was such an odd question.
It was an odd question. So are you saying that I was do you think it's unprofessional? Because if it's unprofessional, then maybe I need to polish up a little bit.
It's not unprofessional. It's just an odd question to ask during an interview.
Yeah.
Never really been asked that.
No, well, you know now why I had to ask that, right?
Yeah.
Because just about everybody we were hiring, they had a crying problem.
Yeah.
And I'm not meaning just once in a great while. I mean, cried like all the time. Right. Ashley was one of them. But she's still here. And yesterday I was talking to her, and I always bring up Ashley when I talk about the crying employee.
Poor Ashley.
I know. So she's going to be on a podcast, and she was like, are you going to talk about me crying? I go, well, I always talk about you crying. You're always the example that I give. She's like, you're probably going to make me cry in your podcast. Why would you cry on the podcast? You haven't cried no, she
doesn't cry anymore.
She worked through all that.
Yes.
You know.
Because you can't have people crying at work all the time. It's not a healthy work environment,
No,
first of all.
no. And we did reach out to human resources, 2 different human resources.
I don't want people thinking we made people cry.
No, I just, no, at all.
No.
It's just, look, it's just sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes a mistake,
Everywhere, every business.
But in the past, our experience would be just someone mailed a product to the wrong
address,
person,
or doubled the shipping,
or answered a question on Facebook wrong, and we would just have to
have a conversation
with them,
if
and
you don't, how does it get fixed?
Correct them, right? Because you got to correct situations. And you and I have never yelled. Okay, Olivia, have I ever yelled at any one of you?
No.
You and I don't yell.
No, I'm not a yeller
at all. But for whatever reason, some people in our past that worked here couldn't handle that.
Right.
They felt, I don't know what they felt. Maybe because they made a mistake, they felt they failed us. I don't know. I don't know if that goes back to something in their personal lives. It brings up something that they haven't quite worked through,
some kind of trigger or something.
Some kind of trigger or something like that. Yeah, because I cry. I mean, you've watched me watch movies and stuff. I mean, yes, but in the work, and it's even okay to, cry once in a while in the work environment.
Right.
For, certain reasons. But when you have employees that every time you have to approach them because something went wrong, they cry or they just can't handle that or they storm out, that's unhealthy.
Right. And it affects the other employees.
And it affects the other employees.
It affects all of us.
It affects all of us, yeah. So we've had to address that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Ashley doesn't cry anymore.
No, she doesn't.
She's tough.
She is tough. She's fantastic.
And her husband's very happy about that.
Yeah.
That she doesn't cry anymore.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay, let me look at my cue cards. So we have to wrap this up, but I think we hit a lot of things, Kat.
Good.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. So.
Anything in closing then?
Anything in closing? I guess I'll say okay. I'm really glad you did this.
Oh,
are you glad you did it?
I am now. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
You did not want to do it.
No,
for the life of you.
I did not want to do it.
You did not want to do it.
I'm fully admitted.
Yeah, and I got a little annoyed with that a few times. You didn't want to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you love it so much.
I do love it.
And it was fun.
But you didn't want to do it. I'm going to throw you out there a little bit.
Watch out.
I know, but you didn't want to do it because you don't like how you look in pictures and video, which is a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of people.
Yeah, Mary.
Right. Mary Richardson's the same way. She was super nervous.
Yeah, we're always very critical of ourselves.
We are. And I don't really like the way I look in pictures and video either, but...
Yeah, but you're so adorable.
Well, and you're hot. I mean, so, I think you're right. We really criticize ourselves, but talking and gabbing and the whole podcast thing really outweighs, for me, the fact that it's way funner, way more fun than... so it makes me forget that I'm going to be exposed and vulnerable with people looking at me on camera, So yeah, because I have those things too. But it was really quite like intense for you, like your nervousness coming on here.
Right, definitely.
Yeah. So
I have to come back. I know. It's okay. I'll buy more champagne.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, let's just close it that. You are a super cool lady. You're not just my wife, but you are. You got a heart of gold. We're both really generous.
Oh, thank you.
We love people in general.
Love people. Love animals.
Love animals. And, I want to inspire people. I want to be a good story. For others. I want to inspire people. And, so if we can do that, even on the smallest of levels, that's just a fantastic, beautiful thing. And I think like I said, there's a lot of people out there, women, maybe even gay women, You know, you don't see a lot of strong gay women
Right.
in business.
We're definitely the minority.
Yeah, you just don't see. We've talked about that a lot, and we're going to get more into being gay and what it's like in business, some of the negative things we've experienced, and whatnot. So whether you're gay or straight, that doesn't matter to me at all. It's women in general, people in general. You know, it's people we love, people we want to inspire, and then you kind of narrow that down. You know, I think we resonate with women, and then narrow that down a little bit more. I think we really resonate with like gay women, right? So yeah,
and maybe gay men too.
Yeah. So, I think that's what life is all about: sharing your story and inspiring others. So. Okay. Yeah. So I love you.
I love you more.
All right. So thank you for joining me and on this episode of Tatter of Fact, and that was my wife Kat. So thanks again, and we will see you next time.